Au sommaire du journal, GE et sa technologie R et pêle-mêle la mode et les lunettes.
La Médicale vous présente le journal du RSNA.
On continue notre visite sur le stand GE avec Messine et le Sigma Premier qui est la seule machine à utiliser cette nouvelle technologie R.
C'est exact, donc c'est une technologie qui est révolutionnaire, qui va bien épouser le contour du corps. Et donc on l'applique au niveau de la tête et du reste du corps, bien sûr. Mais bon, ce système a d'autres particularités. Il utilise les gradients Super G, c'est un niveau jamais atteint, un niveau de puissance jamais atteint. Et grâce à la technologie R de l'antenne tête, on va pouvoir commencer à voir des niveaux de précision des fibres nerveuses. C'est le fameux connectome humain, le projet du connectome humain, qui est de dire on va enfin décrypter quel est le fonctionnement, quelle est l'anatomie réelle du corps humain. Donc il fallait un niveau de puissance, de hardware et de technologie comme l'air, et tout ça mis ensemble et bien sûr accessible à la clinique, parce que ce système est tout à fait approuvé pour avoir une utilisation clinique de tous les jours. Donc c'est un système qui est ultra performant, mais qui permet aussi d'avoir une activité de routine avec la plus haute performance.
Merci. On peut faire de la radiologie et vouloir être élégant ou élégante, être à la mode, et partout où il y a de la mode, il y a des Français. Marc ?
Voilà, effectivement, nous avons donc toute une gamme, je dirais, de couleurs, d'extravagance dans la radiologie pour s'inspirer un petit peu hors de son travail, penser, rêver, être dans la savane, c'est bien mieux que d'être dans la radiologie. Vous pouvez être, vous avez des styles, des girafes, pour les enfants, des styles aussi pour s'amuser, pour le football, donc c'est la gaieté, c'est travailler dans la bonne humeur, voilà.
Voilà, toute une gamme, y compris le léopard. Ça bouge dans l'industrie, il y a du regroupement dans l'air à l'image de Canon et Toshiba. La réalité virtuelle au service des médecins, ça existe, on voit ça tout de suite avec Scott. Scott, what is this device for?
This device allows a medical provider to collaborate with someone at the other end, someone with more expertise. So a nurse to a physician, a surgeon to a more experienced surgeon, but they need to be able to use their hands for patient care at the same time. So for a surgeon, I may need to operate. I may be operating on the patient, but I might need to get advice from another surgeon who's more experienced, or if I have a complication, I might need some more help, or I may need to I can display on the glasses too information about the patient, the laboratory, other information like that.
Okay, can you tell us how it works, and what is the screen is splitted, right. So can you tell us how it works and what we see on the screen?
Okay, so there's two things that we're showing on the screen. On the left side, I'm showing there's a camera right between the eyes on the glasses, so the remote person can see exactly what you're seeing. They get your perspective, your field of view. So if I'm looking down at the patient, I can see exactly what the person that's looking at the patient can see. On the other side, I'm showing information that I'm sharing with them. So right now, I believe we're showing an X-ray of a fractured leg. But I can show that. I can show live information from medical devices. So if I'm doing an ultrasound-guided procedure or other image-guided procedure, that the person that's performing that can actually see the live output from that device while they're using their hands. Right?
You know what? I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that this is pretty cool. Thank you.
I think so. You're welcome.
Timothy, can you tell us what is the difference between EA, machine learning, and deep learning?
Yeah, so the difference between machine learning and deep learning is that with classical machine learning techniques, you're actually required to hand tailor features to try to make decisions. So if you were approaching something like automating segmentation of organs, you'd have to tell the computer to look for certain edges or certain intensities, etc. But with deep learning, you actually get the computer to learn those important features. So you develop these neural networks that essentially will learn things like edges, intensities, etc., and then be able to figure out whether something, say, is kidney or not.
So clearly the deep learning is the future.
Yes, deep learning is definitely the future. There's been, you can see it this year at RSNA, how much more of an impact it's had within the last year compared to previous years. So I think deep learning is definitely the future. Yeah.
What's going to be the impact for radiologists? You know, a lot of them, they worry about that. What's going to be the use of radiologists in the future?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a place for the radiologists. I don't think, they need to be concerned about, in 10 years we're going to replace the radiologists. I would just think of it more as sort of a second pair of eyes for the radiologists. So we can help, take away some of the more tedious processes and just help have another method for doing things like reading exams.
I heard someone saying that machine learning and deep learning is like a car, and as a radiologist you can be on the driver's seat or in the trunk, but anyway you got to be in the car. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's always going to be the need for the human interaction and the human intervention to be able to understand, say, cases that we haven't seen before, and just improve the overall ability of reading exams. Yeah.
What's going to be the next step with deep learning?
What's going to be the next step? I think, things like now we're looking at determining underlying genetic markers from images. So I think being able to just pull out more information from an individual exam is going to be the big piece. There was initial things like trying to segment organs, but I think a lot of this genotype, phenotype interrelationships is what's going to be really important coming up.
What is the connection between deep learning and big data?
So deep learning, the connection really is that a lot of these techniques with deep learning really require a lot of data in order to train the network. So I think there's been a big focus here on, needing those large data sets in order to train the computer to do some of these tasks.
Thank you. I think that now we've got a better understanding of what is deep learning and machine learning and big data and all those words that we don't understand.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Tout est business aux États-Unis. Le RSNA a son shop. On peut repartir avec un petit souvenir.
La Médicale vous a présenté le journal du RSNA.